Hey y'all, you ready
Hello.
to come on down to Nashville and get some
We
hot chicken and sweet tea?
we are ready. We are
All
ready.
right, good.
Absolutely.
We're so excited. It's amazing to think about this journey that you are taking, your faith walk, and we're just want to just sit and listen to you tell your story today, just for people to get to know you better. I already love you, and I know everybody else with. And I think about everybody at Wellhouse right now. I'm speaking for them. We just thank you for saying yes to Wellhouse. We are just blessed beyond belief that you would take this journey for us across country with all your youngins and bring them down here to us. And so we just want to hear a little bit today about that faith story. And as we just talk today, I hope everybody's going to get to see your heart and hear some of your thoughts and plans and dreams. And so feel free to just be yourselves and just as we explore a little more about you guys. And so just tell us this morning, you came down and as a favor to us, you all came down and came to see your friends, Chris and Vicky. And while you were here, I remember that weekend, it was like, hey, why don't you preach for us? And you did. And now you're going to be our lead pastor. So kind of walk us through that and tell
Yeah.
us how in the world that happened.
Yeah, absolutely. We came down to Wellhouse in March, if I remember right, and just visiting friends and in the area. We like to come down there at least once a year to visit several friends, and we have family in the area, and so we knew that Wellhouse was kind of looking for opportunities to have some people in to speak. And so I was happy to be able to fill in and share some of my heart with you all then about the journey that you guys have been on. And like all of God's people, right? We experience amazing things that God does through us and to us. But then we also experience the pruning process, right? We experience difficulties, we experience trials, and that's true for a lot of churches over the last 2 years now, right?
Yeah,
Where
sure.
we've gone through so many things. And Wellhouse is not exempt, right?
Yeah.
So a part of our coming down there and being able to speak was to be able to speak to a group of people who we've watched grow since the very beginning. And we've watched God do amazing things through you all there. And we've prayed for you many times throughout the journey, just watching the different things that you've done and the different ways in which you served and the different ways in which you gave. And so that was a blessing for us to be able to do that. But at the time, we had some folks say, hey, listen, why don't you think about or consider applying for this lead pastor position? And to be quite honest with you, that was just not really something that had ever crossed our minds. Part of that is just where we were and in our life situation. And I think we had kind of maybe even just considered you all people that we prayed for, but not necessarily prayed with, right? To say, is God trying to align some things here? And so as we kind of maybe took that a little more serious, God started opening up doors in ways that is hard to ignore. And sometimes that's really scary because you recognize that God might be calling you into something that's both phenomenal, but it's also comes with this degree of, I need you to take a step out of the boat. I'm going to call you into a place that's uncomfortable. I'm going to call you to do some things that are going to be challenging for you. And you're just going to have to trust me. And so what I can tell you for sure is, moving a family of 8 states away, that's challenging in and of itself. Just trying to get sometimes my kids to clean up their room is challenging enough, let alone packing up their room, right?
Oh,
So those
wow.
things can be challenging, but one of the things that we have tried to do more and more as our kids, right? They're watching, they're sponges. They want to see how, not just what we say about God, but what we do in relationship with God.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we tried to stress over and over again is being faithful to God's calling, even in the unknowns, right? That we're not always called to the easiest life. We're not always called to the most comfortable thing. We're not always called to do the things maybe that we expected or whatever it is, but that we're open, that we come to God with open hands and say, all right, we will do whatever you want us to do. We will go wherever you want us to go. And we're going to submit to you. And so we put that out there, and we felt like God was opening up those doors. And part of that is the way in which I think we try to minister to our family, to say, this is what faith looks like, right? It's not just believing, but it's truly following Christ, being obedient to what he wants for us, what he wills for us.
Well, you are speaking our language. Oh, for sure. I mean, getting out of the boat. Yeah, that is our language. Is just taking risks, taking steps in the community. That's the heart of Well House. We're excited about getting back in the skate rink. It's like, that's where we started. That's where our roots are. And I think now, even coming back to it, starting new and fresh with you guys is exciting, because now we're going to all grow together, and who knows what tomorrow may bring. So, as we start out, then just talking, to get to know you better, Veronica, I met you as V. And so, if that's what most people call you, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm gonna call you V. And but tell us about your kids and kind of your story about how you guys got together, and all of it.
That's a lot. Okay, let me start with our kids. So we have 6 kids. They range from age 19 to age 7. Our oldest daughter, who we are very excited that she's coming down to Tennessee with us to start off her sophomore year of college. And she is 19 and doing her thing. And our youngest, Bear, is in the 2nd grade. And
Bear.
What's that?
Bear.
Yep.
I love that.
And everything in between. So our daughter's Reagan, our 2nd oldest, she is a senior this year. And so that has come along with a lot of other, shifting of expectations and what we can do to give her, a piece of her senior year and enjoy that on both sides. And so that has been really a testament to God providing in those areas. And so that's been kind of a cool thing, even though we thought, that was going to be a much harder thing. God has shown up in that area. For our daughter Faith, who is, hold on, I gotta think about this, 15. And she just started her sophomore year of high school. Our oldest son, Caleb, who is a freshman in high school, just starting out, and has exceeded our entire family in height, I think. Is he taller than me? Getting close. And then we have Carter, our 10-year-old, who is in, oh my goodness, 5th grade. Whew, that's already information overload. And of course, our 2nd grader, Bear. So we have a lot of personalities, a lot of opinions, a lot of voices. We started a homeschool journey about 6 years ago, and that has evolved. it has been something that has suited us very well.
Nice.
And over the last couple of years, it has evolved to being more of a hybrid schooling. So they are enrolled with a public school, but they do in-person class on Tuesday, Thursday, and then they're home the rest of the week. And so that has been a really good fit for us, especially since we've launched a business last year with the letter V, which is, based on my name. So that has been an interesting journey. So it has allowed me to be able to work from home and still try to help them with schooling as best as possible. Maybe not to the capacity that I was before, but
Right.
something that has been a huge blessing for us. And so we're excited to see what that looks like down in Tennessee.
Yeah.
What else did I miss? Anything else?
There's a lot. There's a lot.
That's a
So
lot.
so tell us about your family, how you got together, how you guys met.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm interested to hear this version of the story.
this
by the way.
version.
It's got to be
Are you
good.
sure? Let's
Yeah,
hear the story.
There's two versions is what
Yes.
you're saying.
I'm sure a lot of people know some of our story, just based on our connection here. So we do have a blended family, and it's something that we love about where God has taken us and showing up in our faith journey is just bringing us through a lot of unexpected journeys and getting to see that on the other side through divorce, through grief, through death, through hard things, through moves, through jobs. And so it has been an interesting journey. So for me, my husband passed away. My husband, Jeremy, passed away when I was pregnant with my third. That's my 10-year-old Carter.
Mhm.
And so when Steve and I met, we actually met through Jeremy. Interestingly enough, he knew Steve just for a brief time before he passed away. And as faith would have it, through Chris and Vicky, as we helped them move to Indiana at the time, we met Steve. And so Jeremy and Steve hit it off instantly. They had a lot of things in common in ministry and some of the same journeys that they were walking. And so they had a few phone calls together and had a short-lived friendship before he passed away.
Wow.
Passed away. And so when he did pass away, I was traveling down to Indiana pretty often to see Chris and Vicky because our kids grew up together and spending time with them. And in that process, got to know the church there and Steve and a lot of other people at the church.
Yeah.
So about a year later, Steve was running a grief camp for kids, Camp Hope, and he had reached out to me about sending my oldest daughter, Faith, to camp. And that was kind of the beginning of really getting to know Steve and the girls a little bit better. And so when we did finally start dating, we kind of knew a little bit of each other and had, prayed for each other and had walked secondhandedly through each other's stories. And yeah. And so
What she's trying to tell you is she was really into me. So
You saw him. That was it. Yeah.
that's the
I
version.
don't know that that's true, but I would like to believe that.
Sounds good.
No, it's I think there's something about coming from the past that we have come from. Veronica, from just grief and losing a husband and walking through some of those things by herself. Myself coming from a painful divorce and walking through that while in ministry and knowing how to navigate those things, feeling a lot of shame and a lot of confusion on God, why did this work out this way? And why, feeling like, oh man, people must think I'm terrible. People must think I'm a terrible Christian or a terrible husband or all of those things. I think one of the things that we have come to embrace is that life a lot of times is just messy. And you can either try to ignore the mess, act like it isn't there or that you don't have it, or you can say, all right, listen, God, God will show up in the most unexpected places and bless you.
Yeah.
And he will truly redeem the things that are broken.
Yeah.
And he does, and he has. And one of the things that we will both say over and over again, neither one of us ever wanted to go through the things that we went through. They were painful. They certainly impacted us in hard and difficult ways. And yet, some of the biggest ministry that we have found is through those stories where God has used those things we walk through to leverage it for other people who were walking through difficult times of their own. And we've seen that time and time again. So we are really unabashed about sharing those things to say, listen, if you're kind of a mess, if you don't have all your stuff together, guess what? God's about to use you. Because all the way through from Genesis to Revelation, we find God using people who are messy. And the moment we come and surrender ourselves, our mess, our life to God and say, I don't know what to do, right? And I wanted to have control, but I didn't, and it didn't work out the way I hoped or I wanted or I expected. And God says, good. Give it to me and just wait and see what happens. And I think that's true for Well House too, right? Like sometimes we want all the pieces to work and fit together like how we thought they were going to be. And they just don't. And God says, whoa, just, you're going to have to trust me with it and see what I can do.
Yeah, I love that. So tell us a little bit about your background, obviously in ministry, but other things too. V, you mentioned new business. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I've been in and out of ministry as a spouse and as a worker for many years as well. I was in ministry with Jeremy, doing youth ministry, worship ministry. And obviously Steve and I together have been in ministry, really since the beginning. And so that is definitely a part of my blood. I have not worked full-time since I'm working full-time now, I guess technically just for myself, since the day that Jeremy died, but I have a degree in education, elementary education. And so I taught preschool and I taught pre-K. I've worked in different fitness clubs, and I've been certified in several different group fitness and turbulence training and things like that. So I really enjoy those kinds of settings. I've done that in lots of different capacities, including with our school partnership that we do. I teach the kids. But my other love is art. I do a lot of hand lettering. And so that is actually what launched our business last year. We run two businesses, actually. I make hand lettered designs, digital designs for realtors. And then I also do one just for everyday fun things like seasonal prints and invitations and fun little things that you can, really anything that you can print, but they're all hand lettered by me. So art and cards and things like that. So that is.
You can do anywhere, which is great because you probably started your business.
It moves with me. So that has been a blessing for sure. Yeah, all I need is an iPad and a little bit of creativity. So it's been really
got that. Just bring that everywhere.
Yeah.
So, Steve, so tell us a little bit about like some of the things that you have done in the past.
That's a lot longer conversation, just so you know.
Well, I can tell you
a little bit of everything.
I've been involved in ministry for about 22 years. And that has been everything from an involvement minister, youth minister, children's minister, to pulpit minister, in various stages of part-time and full-time and kind of all along the spectrum. So that's been something that's run through the last 22 years. But in between that time, there's been a lot of other jobs, especially as some of those positions were part-time or just didn't quite provide enough pay along the way. Sometimes churches struggle in that area. So I have done every job from being a hospice chaplain and grief counselor. I did inpatient counseling for mental health and addictions. And my goodness, you name it, I have tried it once or twice and probably wasn't very good at it. I was on a SWAT team for 6 years.
Okay, I want to hear this. I keep hearing about that. It's like he's going to be great because he's a hostage negotiator.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
I did.
Yeah.
I did hostage negotiations, and I was a sergeant on our SWAT team, so I kind of led our crew in all kind of hostage situations and riots
Wow.
and all over the state of Indiana. So I did that for about 6 years.
Wow.
So I have a little bit of training in a whole lot of things. I have a couple of undergraduate degrees in psychology and social work, a couple of master's degrees in church organization and leadership, pastoral theology, and counseling. So I really say all that to say, my heart is and has always been in helping people. And I have found the best way to help people is, number one, by being really authentic and being who God is creating you to be. I have found that to be true. He's still creating me to be the Steve he wants, and I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm working on it every day. And then the other part of that is pointing them to the source of your transformation. That it didn't come by me pulling up my bootstraps, as much as I would love to believe that, right? There are days where I'm like, I worked really hard, or I studied really hard, I've done all those things. That's never been the source of my transformation. The source of my transformation is this gracious God who continues to pour out on me, who continues to show me, I love you and you still need to change, right? You still need to work on some things and get those things right, to be a better husband, or to be a better father, to be a better friend, to be a better leader. And so I have found that those are the things that really, truly help people to know that my life can look better. My life can be better. And as I continue to turn those things over to God and surround myself with other people who are in that same quest, who are being authentic about it, who will share, those are the ways in which I have found my best ministry, the thing that I feel like God has truly called me, gifted me to. So I found a lot of things I was not so great at, but it's that I feel like God has given me a heart for.
Okay, I'm going to throw some questions at you. So, so V, if you're looking at your husband and you would tell us his greatest strength, what you love the most about him as you've watched him go through trials and good times, bad times, just tell us a little insight into who he is. Yeah.
So what you may not hear in all his list of the jobs that he's done is that he is by far the hardest worker that I know. In all of those jobs, he might tell you he's not good at them, but no one else would know that. In fact, I've watched him be successful at everything he's put his mind and his heart to, because when he's in it, he's all in. And so he has built himself a name in every community that he's lived in as somebody who is trustworthy and is going to work as hard as possible. And right now, for the last couple of years, he's been doing real estate, and just because of the nature of who he is, has exceeded above and beyond anybody's expectations, because any area where you put people first, you're going to go far. And so Steve is always one of my favorite things about him is he's always willing to work. He's always willing to reassess and realign. And if something's not working, then he'll find something that does. And so that has been true of our family. It's been true of every job I've seen him work in. It's been true in ministry. And he always does that with a lot of fun and jokes and humility and strength and leadership that, I feel like when most people are just done and ready to throw in the towel, he's usually just getting warmed up. So
I love that.
daily.
So no
Yeah.
pressure, Steve.
No pressure.
Yeah, goodness. What do I do? What? Throw me a different question. No, I'm just kidding. What's my favorite color? Is that what it was?
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
Oh man. Veronica is probably the most inspiring person I know. When you sit and you watch not only the things that she's gone through, which is inspiring in and of itself, but then you watch the ways in which she is a mom of 6 and homeschools them and doesn't eat them alive, right? Or she, or she runs 2 businesses
Mhm.
and has grown that. Or you watch the ways in which she is an amazing friend, an amazing giver to people, who always tries to take time um, to meet other people's needs, to be there for them. That is a gift that it's inspiring, because I think a lot of times we can kind of say like, I'm overwhelmed, I've got this and I've got this. And then I look at her life and I think, you do so much more
Oh,
than the average person, and you do it with grace and dignity and beauty. So
yeah.
and she has to be married to me, which is also not an easy.
Inspiring.
Yeah, it's not, and that's not. So that's inspiring in and of itself, really. That would certainly be one of my favorite things.
I love it. Okay, so we've got about 5 minutes. So I know that we talked a little bit just about, using the words of coming to Well House and your expectation and your hopes and dreams. What do you see? What are the things that you are looking for at Well
Mhm.
House?
Yeah, for sure. Well, what I can tell you is, as we're coming to Well House, one of the things that we're looking forward to is rolling up our sleeves
Mhm.
to join you.
Mhm.
I know that many of you are tired. That's okay. I know that there are probably several people who kind of over the last year or two are kind of saying, all right, what's next? What's the next shoe? What's the next thing to happen? What's going to be the fallout from this? And as we come, know 2 things. We come rolling up our sleeves, ready to serve with you. We come also with open hands to love you,
Mhm.
and to work alongside of you.
Mhm.
And one of my favorite passages in the Old Testament, it happens, after the destruction of the first temple, and God starts, telling, listen, like we're gonna rebuild this thing, and it's gonna be beautiful. And they're kind of discouraged, right? They're people who they have been in exile. Their temple has been destroyed, and they kind of feel beat down. And they get this really simple, small, short message. And that is, don't despise the small things. Don't despise the small things. And essentially what God is reminding them is that he is a God who can take small things and make a big difference out of them.
Mhm.
And I believe that's true still today.
Mhm.
I believe that God has something in store for Well House, that as we work together as a family, as we build and rebuild relationships, that he is going to do, and he wants to do a powerful work, that it's beyond just Well House, that is something through the community and something through the state that we that we surrender to God, and just like how our families experience, all right, God, we're taking a step out in faith, that he will open up doors as we do that, and we just continue to trust him faithfully every step of the way. And we're looking forward to doing that with you all. We trust and know that that God continues to want to share with people who are lost, who are broken, who are hurting, who are overwhelmed, this message that we have. If you're sitting in the chairs right now, you have that same message, and it's time to relook at that in your life and to allow God's Spirit to rekindle that fire. And we look forward to doing that with you. And so that's kind of, as I look forward, I'm looking forward to seeing that, to meeting you, to getting to know you, to have you in our home, to be in your home, and we'll try to contain all of our 6 kids when we're there. But we're looking forward to growing in community with you and doing what God sets out before us to do.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of homes, we're going to pray that your transition time is as painless as possible. There's a whole lot of moving for a whole lot of people. And so we cannot wait until October 3rd, until you guys get here, and just to get to welcome you to Well House. And so we just say to you, God bless you, God bless you, God bless you. May his favor be upon you. May his hand be all over this. May he protect you and guide you every step of the way. And again, thank you for stepping out in faith for us. So we love you guys already, and thank you so much for sharing with us today. And we hope to see you very, very soon.
Yes. We're looking forward to it, and we're excited to join our new family there at Well House.
Yeah. Well, take care. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.